Hi guys! I have some really exciting bags coming in the next few days, and so I was organizing my closet a little bit today, and I wanted to share with you guys some of the things I've learned from trial and error about storing my bags and how I store them in my closet. So I have a really nice closet. Even though my house isn't that big, my closet is big and has a great shelving system in it, and it has a window in it, which is awesome, except for when it comes to me wanting to protect my bags and make sure they don't get a lot of sun exposure. So I really would love to keep my bags open in my closet so I can see them all the time and kind of have easy access to them, and also just enjoy them while I'm in my closet. But I do keep them all covered just because I'm worried about the amount of sun that they might get in my closet. So I'll show you how I put them away, and then how I put them in their bags. So I brought out two examples to show you. So I have a lot of satchel style bags, and I have learned from trial and error that if I store the handles up like this, I get marks on my bags, especially my Florentine ones, from the whip stitching kind of digging into the leather up here. And I had a couple bags that when I went to get them out of storage, because maybe they were pressed a little bit next to another bag, and then I take the handles down to carry it and I see some marks on the leather. So that was kind of a bummer, but it did teach me a valuable lesson. So now I always store my handles down like this. And I know a lot of people actually wrap their handles to prevent this problem, but I don't. I find as long as I leave them down, they usually don't have any problems. Then what I do is I stuff my bags. Now, I use paper stuffing. Usually this is like the stuffing that comes in the bag when it comes from Dooney. I usually take a little bit out because they really stuff it full. So I don't usually use all the stuffing that they send with the bag. But then I take the extra and put it in another bag. Or sometimes I actually stuff these with like my scarves that I don't wear that often. Old baby blankets I've used, old baby towels that my kids don't use anymore because they're too big, and whatever I have that's kind of safe to put inside. I try not to use anything that has like a dark color to it, just because I'm worried about, especially on the bags with the red lining, it rubbing off. So I try to pick kind of like a bland or a white color fabric to put inside if I'm going to put fabric inside instead of paper. And then I zip it. I always store my bags with the zipper up. I don't store them flopped over because, once again, from trial and error, I have learned that sometimes this zipper can make marks on the leather. Now, this is a Samba bag. I'm not that worried about that happening, especially in this dark color. But, for example, my Aqua Florentine satchel that's a light color and is a more delicate leather, always make sure the zipper is up and I have enough stuffing in it that it will sit up and it won't touch any of the leather here. The other thing I do before I store it is I take the strap off. I usually wrap the strap up in a circle like this, and I put it on inside on top of the stuffing. I can find it easily, and then it's one less thing to worry about being positioned against the bag while it's in storage. That way it's inside, it's not pushing on anything on the outside of the bag. It's not, the buckle is not going to make a mark somewhere or something like that, God forbid. So I always put the strap inside if it can be taken off. Now, on dark colored bags like this, like black, even like Kelly green, that's kind of a darker color, I use the dust bags that they come with. So I just stick it inside the dust bag. I always put it in sideways. I cinch it closed, and then I put it up on my shelf so that the opening is towards the wall, like this. On light colored bags, like the next bag I'm going to show you, I take them out of the dust bags and I actually use either white or a light colored pillowcase instead. Because now this one I don't know from trial and error because I've never had it happen to me, but I have heard horror stories of people putting their light colored bags in dust bags, in the Dooney dust bags, and then that blue color comes off on their bag and they cannot get it off. It's like denim transfer, especially on Florentine. So I just don't even risk it. I always put my light colored bags in light colored pillowcases, and then either use the dust bag it came with for a different bag, or I store the dust bags for when I sell the bag, then I have a dust bag to go with it, because some people only like to use the dust bags, but I don't, because it makes me nervous. So here's a different style bag, tote style. So tote style bags, similar, slightly less rules when I put them away. Now with all bags, before I put them away, I always check them over. I look them all over, make sure there's no weird stains, make sure there's no denim transfer, because if there's something you need to wipe off before you put it in storage, the quicker you get to it, say for example, you have a lot of bags and you carry it, you get denim transfer on it, it sits in your closet for 6 months, and the next time you get it out there, that dye, that denim dye has sat on it for 6 months. It's just impossible to get off. So I always check them before I store them. So if that denim transfer or stain or whatever is fresh, I can get it off before I put it in storage. So I try to make my bags perfect and clean when I store them, so there's less chance that they'll get damaged. So I always check them, and then for example with a tote style bag, I would stuff it. Now what I have in here, I told you, sometimes I use strange things. I have a scarf, and I have an old baby blanket. And with a bag like this, where the corners get kind of wrinkled easily, I always try to make sure to stuff it down and get those corners full. A lot of totes get like the weird dried out wrinkly corners. It's not cute. So I like to make sure there's stuff down there. Then I do the snap. And what I do with these handles is I fold them over each other like this. So this is how the bag is stored. And with totes, I'm particularly careful about not pushing them up against another bag. Because let's say you had something pushing on both sides of this, you might get a strap line here. I'm also careful about always putting it on the shelf on the bottom. Okay, I know this sounds obvious, but this is a real story that happened to me. I had a Smith bag. I didn't like it. It wasn't the style for me. I really prefer East West Chelsea. So I decided to sell it. Well, the girl asked for some measurements. I was in a rush. My kids were being weird. My husband's like, we gotta get out of the house or whatever. And so I just ran upstairs, took the measurements. I shoved the Smith bag back in the dust bag, and I threw it on the shelf. And I did not pay attention to how I threw it on the shelf. So I threw it on the shelf like this. Well, I came back, I think it was even less than 24 hours later, to get the bag down to send to the girl, because I'd already sold it to her. Took it out of the dust bag, and you guys, the strap that it had been laying on, the weight of that Smith bag, because it's a lot of leather, weighing down on the strap on that hard surface, made a permanent crease in the leather of the Smith bag. I was so mortified. I felt like the biggest dum-dum for rushing and not paying attention to what I was doing. So I contacted the girl and was like, oh my gosh, you're never gonna believe this. It's perfect, except now there's a crease in it from the strap because I threw it down on the shelf like this rather than being careful. I'm so sorry. So we ended up being able to work it out, and she still bought it. But I seriously, I felt like the biggest jerk. Like, really. Now I take so much care to make sure things are placed on my shelves properly, because that's the worst. It's like, I didn't even do anything to it. Like, I wasn't even like at a wild party and spilled a glass of wine on it. It wasn't like a fun story. It was just me being stupid and not taking the time to be careful. So I'm always careful. And so like for this bag, since it's gray and it's kind of a lighter color and it's Florentine, which always makes me nervous, I have a light pillowcase that I put it in. It happens to be gray. I don't always match my bags, but if I can, I try to make it bag friendly. I put it right inside, fold it over, and a lot of people will get like a hair tie and kind of cinch the pillowcase shut. I find as long as I just fold it and then place it against the wall like this, it stays shut enough for me. So that goes up here. But I'm going to try to show you guys the rest of my stuff here. Let's see if this works. So you can see I have my stuff here. So this is the, it must be a dark color one, and then you'll see my light colored ones. And look at these cute tags. So one of my Dooney pals made these for me. And it just shows the bag. So you know what's inside, and you clip it onto your bag. I know some people make these for themselves, but I don't. So she sent me a couple of them. So like there's my aqua. She made me an aqua one. But you can see, I can tell if it's a light color or a dark colored bag based on if the case is on it. And then there, those are all dark colored ones up there. And then I keep all my supplies here. This is kind of like Dooney Central. And usually bags that I'm working on or thinking of selling, I stick on the shelf because then I can kind of get to them easier. But that's it. That's how I put my stuff in my closet. And when I start running out of spots, I know it's time to start selling things because I don't want to, I'm trying not to get out of control, even though I think I'm just a little bit out of control, especially once you guys see the videos I'm going to make this weekend. I have a million bags coming. I have so many bags coming. They're really, really exciting ones too. So stay tuned. You guys are in for some treats this weekend if I can find a little bit of time to make videos. So thank you guys for watching, and please let me know if you have any comments or questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.